In this video, we're going to see how you can get an official Microsoft accreditation in C#, even if you don't know any just yet. Hello, I'm Philip Burton of idodata.com. So Microsoft Applied Skills give you an accreditation for your skills. So your skills are assessed in your own home or office. You don't need to go out to an exam centre. It is available on your time, and it is completely free. So what happens is that you log in to Microsoft Learn and then you take an assessment. There will be a series of tasks which are presented to you in a virtual machine using an email. And then you log into a program such as Visual Studio Code to perform the tasks. Now, if I click on Explore All Applied Skills and scroll down, you'll see that at the time of recording, there are 43 applied skills mentioned. Some of these, however, have been retired. And the vast majority, 38 of them, are at the intermediate level. However, recently, Microsoft has released 4 beginner Microsoft Applied Skills. So these can be for you, even if you've got no prior skill. So in this video, we're going to have a look at the Microsoft Applied skill Get Started with Classes, Properties and Methods in C#. So if I scroll down, you'll see that this uses Visual Studio Code. And there is indeed a Microsoft Learning Path, which occupies around 4 hours and 43 minutes. Now, I should point out that this learning path does go beyond the scope of what you're required to learn. You can learn what you need in a much shorter time. Now, if I scroll down, you'll see that by checking this box if you're signed in and having agreed to these 2 agreements, you can take the test. So let's see what you will need. So if I scroll all the way to the bottom, there is a study guide for applied skills. So to take this assessment, you would need to know the differences between classes, objects, and types. You'd need to be able to create classes and objects and use types and namespaces in Visual Studio Code. You would need to create properties to control access to properties and to methods, and to use different property types such as nullable and default values. You will need to be able to create methods, use method return options, and overload methods. So, in other words, I can call a method with 1 parameter, I can call a method with 2 parameters. So that is overloading. Or I can call a method with an integer parameter, I can call a method with a string parameter, and I can call a method with no parameters at all. So all of those are overloaded methods. You'll also need to know how to instantiate classes, use class properties and methods, use static classes, and call methods and handle return values. So how can you learn all of this? Well, as I said before, there is a Microsoft Learn Path. However, notice what it says at the top of the study guide. The learning path may include more modules than the task performed to provide a cohesive learning experience. However, in my experience, it's really that they've taken existing learning paths and have put them to this Microsoft Applied Skill Assessment. They are not new, tailor-made learning paths. Now, if you want another way of learning the information that you need for this Microsoft Applied Skill Assessment, then please go to our website, idodata.com. Now, if you click on Fundamentals and Microsoft Applied Skills, Get Started with Classes, Properties and Methods in C#, you'll go to this page. So with around 2 hours of video, you will learn what you need for this Microsoft Applied skill. So we will download Visual Studio Code and some extensions as well. We will create our very first C# program and investigate namespaces, classes, methods, objects, and types. Then we will create different types of variables, because methods and properties can have values going both in and out. So we need the right type of variable. So we'll be looking at integral data types, so those that don't store a decimal point, floating point data types, so you can store fractions in them as well as integral or whole numbers, and other types of variables such as strings and date types. Then we'll be looking at creating classes, properties and methods. So we'll be creating a class with methods and referring to it in code. we'll be creating auto-implemented properties and then expanding them into more complicated properties. We'll also have a look at access modifiers, so your code can't be called from too wide an area. Maybe you just want it to be called from the class or from the assembly itself. And then we'll look at creating objects based on our classes. So we will pass values to new objects and create a constructor. So we're not just saying, I want a new object based on this class, but I want to pass some values to it while we are creating it. We'll have a look at nullable and default values, and also moving code into another file within Visual Studio Code, and overloading methods. Our course has got 3 quizzes and 4 practice activities, so you can be sure that you are learning. By the end of the course, you'll feel much more confident about using C# to create classes, properties, and methods. And you'll be ready to take the official Microsoft Applied Skills Assessment. That would look great on your CV or resume. So for more information about our course, please go to idodata.com, go to Fundamentals, Microsoft Applied Skills in C#, and then click on the Click Here to get started. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you're excited to learn more about C#. What would you use it for? Please let me know in the comments to this video. If you like this video, then please click on like, and why not subscribe and click that bell? That way you'll be notified of any new videos. If you like the idea of Microsoft Applied Skills but want something at an intermediate level, then why not have a look at the end screen, where you'll find more information about intermediate Microsoft Applied Skills. I'm Philip Burton of idodata.com. Thanks for watching and keep learning.